Hello everyone. It's James again. And today, I want to talk about the self-work that I mentioned on my last video addressing codependency. As it was a question that was asked. And it's very important to many out there that are living in such a reality. A reality that they might be a codependent. And has found themselves in one bad situation after another as a result. The first thing to understand about doing self-work. No matter it be if we are talking about being a codependent or surviving narcissistic abuse. This self-work is never ending. I know many want to think, I will do this, that and the other. And somehow, some way, negative situations, feelings, or actions from others, and actions from yourself will never happen again. But this is simply not true. The fact is, you can't grow up in such a home where your parent or parents are narcissists and not have it affect your life. There are certain milestones in life and connections you are supposed to make. And the reality is, many of these normal parts of life never happened for you. The key thing is to find out what those things are and were, and understand how having those things shapes normal behavior. So you have to be a bit of a self-researcher. And then backwards engineer what you find out. There is troubleshooting involved. Gathering your life's information. Evaluating. Understanding. And observing not just other people but yourself. Step outside of yourself. And think with your now healthy mind. What would you think if someone you barely knew, now that you know better, says they are in love with you in one day? That's right. You would think that they are either a narcissist, a borderline, or a psychopath. Or that's right. You might also think they are codependent. You see, the self-work I've done personally is really taking a look at my life. And understanding that either I was running to the rescue and fixing others' problems to the point where I was ignoring my own. And doing more for others than most healthy family members would do. Like most of us people pleasers are known for. Or I would tell people things about myself they had no business knowing. Or maybe I would share something with others that came across as bragging, when it wasn't intended to be that way. That's actually a big one for many decent-hearted people that happen to be codependent. They might want to share a success so bad, but they have no one to talk to. And they tell a coworker or someone else in their life this thing that comes across as bragging and providing too much personal information to someone that isn't in such a position to receive such information. I had to learn a balance. Now, like I mentioned, it's something that will always be with you, as it's with me. That being said, I've gotten to a place of relaxing more in the moment, while I'm interacting along with observing. I still love to talk to others and interact, even with perfect strangers. The narcissistic abuse that I suffered still hasn't taken that from me. Though I must admit, I went through a long period of being gun-shy. And weirdly enough, it does come back from time to time. Sorry for the confusion with how this all sounds. I guess the best way to say it is, I have my moments. But normally, I'm relaxed in my position of still having fun talking with people. But, and this is key, I've learned, and am still learning, the art of observing others, including myself, while the interaction is taking place. And I think that's what we as codependents miss. It's like we live in a one-dimensional world, where we just blab our lives to others, unaware. These people might walk away and say, wow, this guy or girl just told me all of this stuff, and I barely know them. It's like verbal diarrhea. I hate to say it that way, but it's true to some extent. And though I was stuck in this one dimension, seemingly without other ways of seeing the situation, at times, I would pop out of this one-dimensional world for brief moments. And it was usually an uncomfortable feeling I would have when talking to someone, and telling them more than what I should have. Either it was a weird comment they would make back to me, or a roll of the eyes, or a weird change of the subject. This would jar me out of what was going on. And I would feel, you guessed it, very, very embarrassed. And then I would go home and think about it. I would get very depressed. At times the sadness I feel are for interactions that happened years ago, where I know I looked like a complete fool. Based on my just bad life skills, I guess you could say. I know I didn't know better back then. But, like I said, sometimes these feelings come out of nowhere, and you relive them. And again. That's why hobbies are so important. So you are out there having good interactions, building good memories, to have something to think about. Something good to think about. That being said, when these occurrences happened, where I was in an uncomfortable situation, based on my saying or doing something strange or codependent-like, I would be sad for a bit, and try really hard to figure out why I was doing what I was doing. I vowed to stop certain things, and I would be good for a while. But it would always pop up at some point. But when I started to understand why it was happening to me, why I didn't develop the life skills I needed, I was finally able to go on the life journey to develop life skills. I was able to properly backwards engineer things that happened to me and why they resulted in the behavior I was exhibiting. I was also able to backwards engineer healthy behavior that goes along with hitting those normal life milestones many of us didn't hit because of having bad parenting. To say it mildly. But the main thing, the more important thing that helped me out in the entire journey I'm still on, is becoming a better observer. Not just of others, but of myself. Sadly, when we talk about narcissistic abuse, we talk so much about the narcissist, and forget about ourselves. Now talking about the narcissist is important, because showing what these demons are about is important. So the good people in the world know these demons are real, and what they are capable of. And the more this information spreads, the more people can have a chance at doing the self-work and having a better life. But without being able to do the self-work, or observe yourself, the entire thing is lost. If that makes sense. You have to understand something. When you take someone that was raised in a weird and abusive environment, it's going to mold and shape this young child. And things they do and say, though their heart is in the right place, might not always be normal. Now that being said, the other part of this is to work on proper understanding. Despite what you say to certain people, they might say, oh, you're bragging, or you're this, or they might act weird or strange to you just because they are quite frankly a jerk. That's where observing yourself, the other person, and the situation is key. And developing points of reference are important. So you can observe and discern, and can say, you know, that person is a jerk. There's nothing wrong with what was said. Or you know, I did step out of line on that one. It's that fine line to not shrink for the sake of others. Because if you're good at this or that, that's awesome. Be proud and happy. But learn that balance when you're out in public. But don't shrink. Because many that start doing the self-work will second guess everything they say, and shrink themselves into a box. I think my saving grace was, I like people. Weird, I know. I'm here talking about narcissistic personality disorder, and how there are so many evil people on this earth. Which is true. But when I'm out, I still love to say hello to strangers, shake a hand or two, and smile. Even though those depressing days still happen. That being said, I think it was this ability to interact with people easily, along with figuring out a way to observe myself, the other person, and the situation at once. That allowed me not to shrink away. Now someone else that might be more shy. They might attempt to do the self-work and shrink away because of second-guessing themselves. This is where I say, if you feel the need, find a good therapist that deals with codependency and has a good understanding of narcissistic abuse. There are very few of them. But you might get lucky. No. These types won't help you have a better relationship with the narcissist in your life. So don't look for that. But if you are free and struggling to put the pieces of your life together, they might be a good resource to help you understand why you are missing some key skills that make you feel, act, or react in certain ways to things. There is so much to understand and learn about ourselves. It's so amazing. Why this? Why that? How come this? How come that? Okay. Let's see why this works the way it does. Observe. 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 Observing, I've found, is the best advice I've heard others give. When in regards to narcissistic abuse and dealing with a narcissist. But it's also the best thing when in regards to helping yourself and your codependency. Observe your behavior. Why do you think and say the things you say? Go back to the root cause. And work it from the root back up to present day. Then apply what you've learned and observe again. And pretty soon, you will get so comfortable with observing yourself. You might forget you are even doing it. And your brain will provide you the information and feedback about yourself that is so needed to make the changes that you're looking for. Well, I hope this information helps. And this won't be the last we talk about such topics. They are so important. Healing, growing, and self-betterment is an ongoing process. It truly is. With that being said, thanks for viewing, subscribing. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Please share this video with someone that you think might benefit from it. And like as well if you enjoyed this content. Let YouTube know videos like this are important. When you like such videos, you are doing just that. Well, that's all I have for now. Many blessings to everyone. And until next time. Bye for now. And be good to yourself.